Okay, let's just recap a little bit. Uh, in doing the purview approach, we had the 7 steps. I'm going to go over the 7 steps, but this time I'm going to give you questions you can use in each of the steps and explain how the view part is part of this. At each step, we do the view. You'll find out in a minute. So remember, we had the 7 steps: characterize yourself at your best, externalize the problem. So the problem's the problem, not the person. Give it a name, give it a label so you can step back and look at it. Sympathize with the old story. It's hidden logic, it's payoff. I mean, it's there for a reason. May not be a really super great payoff, but yeah, it's there. And then 4, get into revise by confronting with courage all the aspects of that habit formation, that habit of the old story filter, and the consequences that are often not that fun to look at, but you need to have courage and look at them. Then strategize little wow moments, little wow actions that were exceptions to the problem saturated account. 6, rehistoricize, tell your history from birth till now by reiterating those little wow moments you unearthed, brought back to life, and strategize, and then telling your history. Use those little wow moments again and again until they attract more little wow moments, and you got a really good solid story filter we call the new story. 7, publicize that new story to friends, associates that you can trust to support you and become a support group. And then publicize it to people who expect you to be old Dave or old Fred or old Martha, whatever your name is, and don't really want you to change, even if it's better for you. They maybe don't have your best interests at heart. A support group does. A support group will be holding you accountable for staying in your new story. And you need that to overcome a habit structure. So let's now take a look at to characterize and what's going to go on here. If you're looking at characterizing, it's important to, as the first phase of coaching with Purview, to you're going to have a session. It's going to be 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. If things open up, maybe you have to stay with that client an hour and a half or 2 hours just to close the loop. So the first thing you're going to want to ask them is, what do you want to get out of this session? So we're going to be together, let's say 30 minutes. What would you like to have accomplished at the end of 30 minutes? The second question, after you've set the agenda, because that tells you as a coach and them as a client what the focus is going to be, then you want to say, do I have your permission to ask you about your story, to get below the surface of the story to negative thoughts and emotions? So that sets your contract with the client. So they know that you're going to go beneath the surface. They're agreeing to it. And we don't do any coaching that people don't agree to in their agenda, general topic area, and in how deep you're going to go. So we're asking their permission all the way through all 7 steps, and you'll see that. So now we'll ask them the key question and characterize. Can you characterize yourself at your best and your organization at your best? Because we're doing 2 levels here, the individual and their organizational circumstance. So it's important to do both. Now, some sessions you might want to just focus on the individual until they kind of get their legs under the new story and they restoring. But if they're humming right along, you can bring in the organizational level as well. At some point, you'll ask them, what is the story you've been living in your life, your family, your business, your profession, whatever that may be? And now they're going to sort of get into the problem-saturated account. Now, here's some advice. Don't go down the rabbit hole with them and re-traumatize them. We don't do that in Purview. We look around the rabbit hole down into it, but we don't relive the experience of trauma. I'm a Vietnam veteran, and I know what PTSD is. I know that there is a methodology of reliving your trauma. It's like if you have a road accident, you hit a brick wall with your car and you wind up in the hospital. How often do you want to relive that in your life as a coaching? No, it's I don't agree with that method, nor does Grace Ann. We look at helping you not go down the rabbit hole to re-traumatize yourself again and again. So that's key here. But we do want you to bring it out so that when we go to step 2, externalize, that you can help the yourself, if it's you as a client, or if you're the coach, you can help them not go down. And let's just look at some more possible questions. So what is the first memory you have of this? So if they start in the rabbit hole and you ask them the first memory, here's what's going on here. If you get to the first memory, you don't have to go through every single episode through their life. I'm 77 years old. Do you want to hear every episode where I've dropped into the rabbit hole? No, you want to find that first rabbit hole. My first rabbit hole is kindergarten in Catholic school, and I flunked kindergarten. They sent me home. My mother's embarrassed. I thought my life was over, that I'd never be ready for school. So that episode, if I go there and coach and get coached there, that will burst all the other episodes between age 6, maybe you were 5 in kindergarten, 6, all the way up to age 77, where I am now. And that's a magic of this process, and trust the process. You can do the same thing at an organization. What's the founding episode of your organization's issue here? When did it first happen? What was the first thing that happened? For example, I became a department head in university, and the first thing that happened, I asked to see the budget and got chewed out by the dean. It turned out in that institution, deans did not share with department heads the budgets for their own department. It sounds lame, it's crazy, but I've worked in some crazy organizations, and so have you. So don't tell me you haven't seen something equally weird. But if I don't pop that bubble of that first episode and get into it the way we're going to get into these things today, then it's not going to happen. Now, there's a whole lot of coaching methodologies you can use. I use sand trays sometimes with clients who have trouble recalling their stories, those early events. So in military families, for example, veterans and families, you need sand trays, little sand box, a little, about 2 foot by 2 foot, with little toys you put in, such as a compass, other things that represent, say, well, here's a horse, so things that they put in the sandbox box of their own choosing and then rearrange them. And that's really good because they don't have to talk about it. So my grandfather was in World War I, my dad in World War II and the Korean War. I was in the Vietnam War, and we tend not to want to talk about that stuff. But you tell us put some toys in a toy box, in a sandbox rather, and arrange them, and we'll talk about anything because we're not using words. Our speaking is with laying out the objects in relation to each other. We'll do a special session on that, but I just wanted to tell you that there are several ways you can do the 7 steps. Uh, so the key to the characterize is characterize yourself at your best, characterize your organization at your best, set an agenda. What does the client want to get out of this session? Right? Get permission to delve below the surface. Don't proceed if you don't have permission. They're not ready. Don't do it. Uh, you can also use sand trays. You can just do the talk approach like I'm doing now. You can take the PERVIEW quiz before they do this as a pretest. Those are all things that are tips for you. Try to get to that first event because that's the event that's really important. Now, we also have healing approaches in PERVIEW where you go past birth. Maybe it's the birth trauma, or maybe it's past lives that is at issue here. So take a look at that. That way, you get to where it is. Now, not everybody wants to go into past lives. It took me years before I ever wanted to do it, and it took a year of coaching before I could do it because I was pretty resistant. But some people, they want to go there right away. Fine. Uh, that's okay. Just be ready for that kind of approach. Uh, you can, when I talk about popping the bubble of the earliest memory, you can do something called quantum time travel. I'll develop that in its own episode for you, but it's basically going back in time, looking at that episode, going before the episode, looking at it, or staying above it so you're detached from it, observing it, looking at it. So it's got that element of externalization there. And going forward and looking from the now to that past to see if there's other negative thoughts and emotions between the founding event and where you are now. So it has some procedures in it, but believe me, it works. I've seen it work 100% of the time when it's been done to me and when I've done it. I follow the steps work. There's other approaches we'll learn uh, in getting to the root cause and getting there quickly. That's sort of where we're at now, is staying with the root cause uh, to get below the surface of what they're facing, to get to that earliest event is a good idea. Now, when does the earliest event happen? Usually between birth and 7 years old. If they're going to events after that and they won't go back to age 0 to 7, well, you're going to need multiple sessions. You're going to need to quell some of those events that they just have on their mind that they didn't let loose of. And then eventually they will relax, trust you, and you'll go back to the event that's causing the issues. And that's amazing. All right. Let's go to steps 2. You're going to externalize and ask them questions that make the problem the problem. So can you give a label to the problem you're bringing up so that the problem is the problem, not you as the person? Because we want you to detach and be able to look at it and observe it. And that's what that's all about. All right. So give that problem a label called Mr. Chaos, Miss Chaos, oblivious, runs away, whatever it is, head in the sand is so you can stand back and observe it. So this is real important. In each of the phases, So let's go back to characterize. You want to do the view. So what are the vibrations you're feeling in your body that we've done to characterize? What's the emotional tone or resonance? So if they've been focusing on characterizing themselves their best, they may feel a sense of peace, sense of joy. If they're in the turbulence of that problem saturated account, they're probably going to feel a knot in the stomach, maybe hard to take a breath, feels tense, maybe redness in the face. So vibrations of the body. Inside, internal thoughts and emotions. What beliefs and emotions are driving this? So what are your negative thoughts and emotions and any limiting beliefs? Now, people will have trouble with this. Be patient. Often people will tell you, I'm thinking I wasn't good enough. That's not an emotion. That's a thought. That helps. Don't say it's not an emotion. Just wait for them to have an emotion like, I was embarrassed when I failed kindergarten. My mother was embarrassed, so I was embarrassed. Okay, I see you. You've said you felt embarrassed. That is an emotion. You felt not good enough. That's a thought. What are the limiting aspects of that? Limiting choices you were making, the limiting behaviors. Oh, I didn't try anymore. Okay, so now you got all three. You're not going to get all three in one episode of asking a question. So, but don't go too deep beyond what they're willing to go. And if they're making some progress, good. They'll discover what an emotion is with time. So often people aren't used to talking about their negative emotions, and they won't. They'll talk about thoughts all day long, limiting behaviors, limiting habits. That may take a little coaching. So internal thoughts and emotions, the negative ones, uh, you want to come back to those in each step to see if they're still there. In the later steps, they'll definitely be here in this step. Um, they'll be there in the first step of characterize, they'll be there again. So I recommend doing view. What are your vibrations of your bodies? What is your internal negative thoughts and emotions and limiting beliefs? And what now we do E, which is the energy scale. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being highest, how energy do you feel now? All right, that's it. So often in the early steps, characterize and externalize, they're going to feel like a 2 or 3 or 5 or 6 or 7 or an 8, depending on what they're dealing with. And that's okay. Do you want to find out as a coach where you're at so you know to keep going beneath the surface and how they're doing with it? Now, the waves is real important. You want to do that in every one of the 7 steps. What are the waves of vibrations, frequencies um, that you're feeling in order that we collapse the quantum wave? Now, if you know a little bit about quantum physics, um, an event happens, a whole lot of waves are happening. You have choice. You can design the future you want to be living by collapsing the wave in the direction you want to go. If you collapse a wave in the direction you don't want to go, that's your choice. That's a choice. But collapsing it into a positive direction, that's also the choice. So you're going to ask the client, uh, collapse the wave into a choice that's positive for you. Okay. And that is real important. into a direction. I'm typing it. I like to take notes because I like the way I just worded that. And so that's very important. So that's the view. We want to do that in characterize. We want to do that in externalize. We want to do that every one of the steps. So let's go to revise. Now, what are the consequences of staying in your habit of externalized character, that story filter? Now, they're going to start to dance around the rabbit hole. Do not go deep into the rabbit hole with them. You're not here to re-traumatize them. You're not a psychotherapist. I've given keynote addresses to psychotherapy conferences. Yeah, but you don't go into the rabbit hole. Observe the ex externalize. That's why we externalize. But we need to have them talk about the consequences of that rabbit hole in their life. So uh, that's real important. Here's some questions you can use at this level. You can start with what negative emotions and negative thought patterns are you carrying that no longer serves your mission in life or purpose or relationships? you know, I remember working with a client that was in the military. He was an officer, just came back from deployment. Was in a happened to be in a PhD program and wanted to get things done right away. Didn't want to wait. Didn't want to go through the process. He was a go-to captain in overseas. And I said, now you're home. How's that going for you? Well, my wife's ready to leave. My children hate me. My cohort thinks I'm a pain in the butt. So, yeah, not too well. So you see how I got him to talk about the consequences. I didn't have him go relive the event that's traumatizing him that he's running away from. So I'll have him stare at the event once I go through the steps. Now, in revise, we are using courage to confront what's going on. What energy drains you most in your work and relationships? What belief is not yours, but you keep carrying it anyway? That's the kind of questions you can ask. At an organizational level, what story is being repeated but no longer true in this organization? What energy is stuck in the workflow? What ritual might allow the team to name and release these? So, that those are all good questions. Uh, Use guided visualization if that helps. Help them get into the metaphor. They'll usually bring up a metaphor. You can try appreciative inquiry, point out some positives, accentuate some positives, etc. So really good. You're doing a good job here. All right. We're both doing a good job. So let's look at step 4. Empathize with what is the payoff that's keeping this going. All right. Uh, Use the view technique here. And you want questions that let them talk a little bit about, what's the value of procrastinating? What's the value of being in ambiguity and not doing anything about it? What's the value of having your head in the sand? Well, I don't have to try. So those are the kinds of questions you want. What part of yourself have you been pushing away? What value or longing does that part carry? What is the part you're trying to protect yourself from? Uh, at what is the emotional age of this part? When did it first happen? So again, we're going back to that first bubble. Uh, what cultural pattern in your organization has been protecting the organization from perceived failure? What resistance might carry unspoken wisdom in your organization? You can be spiritual about it. What image arises when you think of that part you've rejected? And you can be spiritual. Some people aren't spiritual, so don't go there if they're not. But you could say, what's a mythological archetype that carries this energy? What art form feels safest for you to meet in this part? So um, you're inviting the person you're coaching to explore. All right. And sometimes that'll involve spiritual dimension. All right. And we really want you to use the view steps at each stage. Um, so let's go back and look at the view steps. Um, you want to do, what are the vibrations of your body right now in this session? Right. So don't have them float outside to some other time zone. Right. You want to stay in this here and now with the client, and you're helping them stay in the here and now, right? Does that make sense? As the more they can do that, the more you're going to break out of that old story filter they keep playing again and again and again. So uh, really practice the view. So what are the emotional tone and resonance of your current business story? For example, what are the internal thoughts and emotions? A limiting belief. What's the energy scale, 1 to 10 for you right now in telling me this? What are waves of vibration frequency to collapse the quantum into quantum physics? Collapse this wave into a direction positive for you. Okay. That'll be important. So you're doing a great job here. Really appreciate it. Now, in strategizing, we're going to look at bringing out 5 to 7, maybe 10 or 12 little wow moments of exception to the problem saturated account to uncover the deep transformation potential. You got to have these little wow moments. You got to stay with them, and everybody's got moments of success. They can recall them, little wow moments where they didn't fall into the trap of the externalized label, the problem saturated account. But surface the problem. What would be the most valuable thing to talk about today? What are the uh, what are the challenges? When did you succeed in one of those challenges, even for a little moment? Get at that part. Strategize is real important. You can, when they get a little wow moment, let them go and get another one. Say, can I have a third one? Uh, and let them have a moment to think about it. What moment are you thinking of now? Because maybe they're editing out and they want the best little wow moment to impress you as a coach. I don't know. But you can say, what vision are you now building from? What strategic path feels most aligned with the values you're bringing out in these little wow moment stories? What can make this success sustainable? What small wins or little wow moments are scaling into the strategy of your organization? Uh, the organizations succeed too. They don't just fail. Little small miracles that keep pointing you in the direction of your soul. Maybe that's too spiritual for them and you don't want to go there, but you'll know when people talk about it, what's going on. And when you get to step 6, rehistoricize, don't go there unless you got 5 or 6 little wow moments. Don't go there before you did the view. What's the emotional tone and resonance of your body right now and of your organization? You can ask the question both ways. Internal thoughts and emotions. Do you have any negative thoughts and emotions? Now, if they do, you're going to have to go back a few steps. May have to start all over again. If they're deep into something and it's a bubble you didn't pop yet, they haven't externalized it, they haven't looked at it, detached manner, they're still stuck in the rabbit hole, you have to go back. Don't go forward until you're up at this level. They not focused on negative thoughts and emotions. Energy. What's your energy on a scale of 1 to 10 now? Now, if they're still at 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 or 6, go back. You got to do more work to do as a coach. If they're at 7 or 8, probably good to go ahead. If they're 9 or 10, go ahead. Don't do too much more. If it'll help to do the wave question, even if they're at a low energy, even if they're still stuck in the rabbit hole, because the waves are you're going to say collapse the quantum wave now. You don't need to define it again because they already know what it is at this level. You've done 4 steps before this one. And collapse that into a change for your best benefit, for the best benefit of your organization or relationship. What future do you want to create? What's the new story? So that can snap them out of it, but you still might need to go back to prior steps and keep going. Do you understand? That's real important. Don't proceed and don't kind of blunder through it until they really have had the breakthrough moments that you're hoping them to have. Rehistoricize, now we're going to have them in step 6, tell the story without the problem saturated account, without the externalized label, without going into the rabbit hole, all of those things. So those are real important for you to do. And if they can't get started right away, it's just say, tell me the 5 little wow moments that you told me before, one at a time. And then tell me some little wow moments that come up to your mind from there. Stay in that zone. Thank you. And same for the organizational level. Some little wow moments that are in the organization's history. Do you know of some? Did you experience some? Even better, ones that you experienced, ones that you participated in. That's a double whammy because you're getting their individual little wow moment and it's at an organizational level. So try to get there. Real important. Organizations, I learned, and you'll see this in the book chapter, Growth OD. Organizations are not cooperative systems. That's the exception to the rule. Mostly they're anarchy. Mostly they're deep in conflict episodes. Haven't resolved the conflict, so they keep cropping up in each new meeting. There's more about that in the book, and I'll have a special module on that coming up. So when you do the vibrations now, what are the vibrations? Your body experiencing? Okay. They describe it. It's an actual body experience, not a thought, but they're experiencing redness in the face or calmness. Their stomach is feeling at ease. They're feeling joy. They're feeling happiness. They feel hopeful. The thoughts. I feel good about the process. Yeah, I feel I can make my future. Okay, so what are your internal thoughts and emotions? If they're going down the rabbit hole, go back to step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go back 1 step or more. You got more work to do as a coach. Energy, scale of 1 to 10. What are they feeling? They need to be at a 9 or 10 at this point. If they're not, to giving you a 7, you ask the question, what do you need to have happen before you're at a 10? To be at a 10, what do you need? What's suppressed here? Let's deal with it and get you to a 10. So now you're coaching them that you want them to go to a 10. And if they get to a 10, you're going, yeah, you got to a 10. That's good progress. Positive reinforcement in psychology is there for a reason. So now we go to step 7, publicize, build that support group, ask the questions that are about that. Who needs to witness your story now? So that's publicizing. What do you most want to be known as the next chapter of your story? Who can hold you accountable for this compassion? That's your support group. All right, so you're asking questions to get them there. You do the final view. What are the vibrations you're experiencing now? Now you're hoping that those vibrations are, the body is calm, it's in an energetic space, positivity, of gratitude. And then you go to what's your internal thoughts and emotions now? What any limiting beliefs coming up? So got some minor ones, you're okay. If they're deep in the rabbit hole, go back 2 or 3 steps. Energy scale. What's your energy in a scale of 1 to 10? Better be a 10. Don't tell them better be a 10, but you're looking for a 9 or a 10. If it's not a 10, what do we need to do to get you to a 10? Because remember, we said we deal with that issue. That was our agenda for the today. You wanted to have that release, that new story. You're climbing out of the rabbit hole. What do we need to do? If it's a small step, you can take it now. Let's do it. If it's not, we're going to go back and keep at it in a loving way, caring way with you until you get there. And you're going to stay with the client. You're asking permission each step of the way, but you're staying with the client. And now we go to the collapsing the wave. Collapse the wave into a choice for your new story, creating that future. Tell me that new story. Okay, now I'm going to do a ritual with you. And here's the ritual for you coaches and consultants. I'm going to have them clap 3 times after they tell me that new story. And I'll demonstrate. I want a loud clap. Why are we doing this? Because you got neurological connections in the brain that are forming new habitual paths, and that ritual will help. That ritual will help. So have them state this new story and say, I want you to clap loudly 3 times, and you can clap with them or just watch them if they're into the zone. And 1, 2, 3. Okay. So, and tell them why you did that, because you want the new neurological habits, connections to form and take root. And ritual is one of the best ways to do that. That's why societies have had rituals for thousands and thousands of years in a positive way of healing. That's it. Now you give them their assignment, which is in next week. You're going to publicize it to people that you know and trust and support you. You're going to form a support group and let them know what you're doing and why you want them to alert you if you fall into the rabbit hole, and give them the okay that it's okay to interrupt your pity story, your worry story, whatever it is, your defeat story. If you're in the rabbit hole, and say, hey, Fred, John, Mary, whatever their name is, come out of it. You're in the rabbit hole. Get out of the rabbit hole. What's your news story? Give me 3 little wow moments. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And that's it. So I'm going to return to you and go in depth in the PERVIEW approach to coaching and consulting, and it occurs at both the individual and at the organizational level and relationship levels in the family, if that's where the agenda takes you. There are a number of questions you can ask at each step. It's important to do the view part of this at each step. Don't skip the view because you're not going to know if you're getting a snow job or they're pulling your leg or they're not really dealing beneath the surface. So you need the view. That's your feedback as a coach, and it's their feedback to let them know they're on pace to go through the steps. Don't go to the next step if you haven't completed the step that you're in. If you get to a later step and you find out they're in the rabbit hole, go back to an earlier step. It's okay. You don't have to play the linear approach. It's okay to go back, and then go forward. Go back 2 steps, go forward 1, go back 3 steps, go forward 3. However it works out. And really practice this now and start to look at the coaching steps, look at the questions in Purview, watch these videos again, take notes, and start to practice with someone that you can practice on. Don't start practicing with a Vietnam veteran or a Iraq veteran or Afghanistan veteran or something like that. I mean, let's deal with somebody who's dealing with a small problem, at least not as big as a post-traumatic stress disorder. All right. Hi, it's David Boje. I hope you're profiting from these sessions, and thank you very much.